What's up, guys and gals? Today we are not outside. We are down in the basement and we are talking all about seed starting. Now, the Homestead honey and I just got all these planted out, and I should say she planted them all out while I was off taking care of some other things around. But while we're at it, let's go ahead and have the Homestead honey tell you guys what everything is here.
In this tray, we have all of our peppers. We have a pica hot mix, a jalapeno brown, a regular jalapeno, a Pathfinder pepper, it is hot, and a La Bamba pepper. So these are all the hots. In this one, we have all of our greens. We have this new Japanese green that we're trying. It's kombutsu. We're trying collard greens this year, red kale, and like a blue kale. In this one, I'm starting some flowers. It's Celestia, Gumfina, dwarf lupine, and hollyhock. And then this is just the two different like kind of sauce paste tomatoes. We have tomato Amish paste and then Martino. And then up here, I have a row of sweet pea I'm trying to grow again. Some broccoli, so I have early purple, a gypsy variety, an emerald, and then a new cabbage that we're growing. It's a Toscana. It's kind of like a leafy, not like a head of cabbage. This one is some more. It is lakeside spinach, long blue spinach. This is a flashy trout lettuce, and then a rogue lettuce. And here are just some herbs, oregano, and two different kinds of chamomile. This is a salt lily, I believe, and then a German version of chamomile, and then some snapdragons and just some other flowers. And then up here we have, these are tomatoes, some like larger variety, not so much of the paste. This is kind of like a paste sauce tomato. It's like a D brew. I don't remember how to pronounce that. Cipolla, I believe, is a sauce one. Brandywine, it's like a larger variety, kind of like on like a purple side. And then a carbon. Over here, this is the sweet peppers. So I did Snowball. We just had a little bit left, so it was only a couple. California Wonder in the back, and then here, this is a chocolate sweet pepper and a Monster Yellow. And then for Justin, I just did a couple of the black cherry because he likes to snack on those when he's in the garden. And then the last tray for now, it is some carrots and some beets. I'm kind of experimenting with these because I have such issues growing them. So this is Adana, a candy, boro beet, and then some flowers, some pansy flowers. And that's all we have for right now.
So let me tell you guys about our setup here. Basically everything you see here all came from Amazon, and I will put links to most of the stuff here that you see down below in the description. So go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested in any of this stuff. But moving on, let me talk about the lights first. Now, if you are new to doing seeds indoors, you do not need anything crazy for lights. These are 45 watt. The brand is called Barina. Now, if you are doing something like hydroponics, where you are growing plants the entirety of their lifespan indoors, or like a perpetual growth of, say, your leafy greens, anything like that, you might want something a little bit more powerful. But for just starting your seed starts indoors, you don't need anything crazy. These are game changing. These are little adjustable things. I'm not going to adjust them right now because they're set to exactly where we want them. but just by looking at it, you can kind of get the picture. You pull the rope, it's on like a little winch and up and down. Now this here clear plastic covering for this shelving unit is one of the best things that we bought, because this, it's see-through and we can see what's going on in here, but we can also zip it up, and this is excellent for the germination process, because the germination process, you need heat and humidity. Not only do the lights here produce heat, which gets captured and stays inside of here to help promote with the heat and humidity, but also whenever we need to water them, because one of the most important things during the germination process is it stays wet. If it dries out, there's a good chance that some of your things might not germinate. And then whenever we have to water, we use one of these pump sprayers, and we'll fill it up with hot water. And throughout the germination process, if anything dries out, well, not dry out, you don't want to let it dry out, but if it's at the point where it needs to be watered, we'll spray the top, and that hot water that we spray with will also obviously produce heat and humidity, which will get captured in here and help promote the entire germination process. And then after germination, after everything is sprouted, but we still want heat and humidity, we can just take this thing, open it up just a little bit to allow some heat to escape so it doesn't stay too hot in there. Because if after germination, if you have too much heat and humidity after things are sprouted and growing, you could start to get some fungal growth in there that you might not necessarily want. Now let's talk about potting soil. Now the best possible thing you could do is make your own potting soil, but we've got a little bit more work to go before we think we're ready to make our own. One of the big things with that comes down to being able to create very, very high quality compost. But the next best thing is buying a high quality potting soil. A lot of people will go buy, like, say, the Miracle Grow or something like that. I really don't trust a lot of things like that. I don't want a bunch of chemicals, any kind of garbage like that going into my soil if I can help it. So if you buy a high quality one like this, that's great. And it's got compost in it. It's got all sorts of organic matter, various types of beneficial things and nutrients that your seeds are going to love during germination and help them grow fast and strong. But something important to note, compost is not about nutrients. It is about microbial life. And when you go buy a bag of high quality stuff like this, even if it has amazing compost in it, that bag has probably been sitting around for God knows how long. And that is enough time for the microbial life, the beneficial microbial life, to die off, become inactive, but allow the presence of other types of stuff you might not want in there. Maybe some not so favorable fungal or bacteria life to grow in there. So if you buy a bag of potting soil like that, you could get something like what we used here. This just has some trash from our seed starting process here, but what we initially did was we took that bag of soil, dumped it in here, and then you heat up some water, get it boiling, and then dump that in here. That does two things. A, it gets the soil nice and moist, which is exactly what you want for germination. So we basically pre-watered the soil. But because it's boiling, when you put it in here, it's going to kill off any bad things in there, any pathogens, any unfavorable microbes or bacteria or anything like that. We are 8 weeks out from our average last frost date, so most of our stuff that we are growing, this is the ideal time for us for our area. We're up here in Massachusetts, which is growing zone 6B. So you can easily find out your growing zone. Just look up your area and check it out, and then look at the individual thing that you're growing and see when it should be started indoors. A lot of these things cannot be planted outside now because if we get a frost, they're dead. They're done, especially if they germinate. Now, certain things you can plant outside, even say in fall time, let them endure a winter, such as garlic. That's the ideal time to plant garlic. But most things, especially if you live up here in a northern climate, you are absolutely going to want to start them indoors, especially if you hope to have any success with your more warm weather crops, such as your corn, your tomatoes, your peppers, anything like that. Since we're talking about growing, we're gonna take a step outside, and don't mind the sound, we're just running some gas out of our generator over here. But if we go out to the garden bed, we're gonna take a look at a few things. There's obviously not much to see right now. Sadly, we had mulched this pretty good with leaf mulch, but the chickens got out and kicked all the leaf mulch off. But we also have, in some areas, it's a little hard to see now and it is actually getting dark out, but we had planted some cover crop. We unfortunately didn't plant it very heavy. This was our first year attempting a cover crop. But something to note is with your garden, bare soil is something you do not want, especially as you're getting to the end of the growing season through winter and into springtime. You should either mulch it, tarp it, or cover crop it. One of the three. And I would highly recommend either mulching or cover cropping, because tarping it, yes, it's going to protect from weeds and whatnot, but you should always be looking to add fertility and organic matter to your garden. And while we are at it, over this way, if you look at one of our last videos, we talked about how we just recently expanded our whole fencing area for the chickens. This whole area that the chickens had previously eaten and scratched down, not a lick of vegetation left, we just planted out a bunch of stuff here. We planted out a bunch of clover, and we're also experimenting with having some daikon radish in here. Daikon radish, it's a great vegetable. Pickle it, it's awesome. But if you don't harvest it and let it sit in the ground and die off come fall time, it's what you call a nitrogen fixer. So what that basically means is anything that's a nitrogen fixer will literally pull nitrogen out of the air, and in the case of daikon radish, the radish itself will absorb that nitrogen along with other minerals and nutrients in the soil, and when it's allowed to just stay in the soil and die off, it will release that into the surrounding soil, allowing all the rest of the plant life around to then take that nitrogen in and grow even better and make the soil better and all that. So as we head into springtime, we'll be talking a lot more about all these things as they start to grow, and a lot of things that have to do with responsibly managing your soil, your plant life, your ecosystem, and whatnot. Things such as regenerative agriculture. So we're going to be getting into that kind of stuff, guys. So stay tuned, get growing, plant those seeds. It's about that time. And as always, if you guys like what we're doing here, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, throw us a comment if you got any questions or feedback, anything like that. And until the next one, so long.